Omar Omi Pasley, welcome to Profile.
Thank you for having me.
Absolutely delighted to have you. Given your resume, and I have to go through it so that our viewers can know some of what you've been doing. Rising star in reggae, pop, tropical house music, Afro house, among other genres. Gained international fame with the global hit Cheerleader, topping charts in over 20 countries. Multiple platinum in many countries, including topping the Billboard Hot 100. And your Cheerleader remix by Felix Jean amassed billions of streams and became a cultural phenomenon. So dance videos, TikTok videos, remixes galore. In essence, you've been turning that opportunity into even more opportunity, more success with your debut album, Me For You in 2015, featuring hits like Hula Hoop, Stir It Up, and Drop in the Ocean. And you're known for uplifting lyrics and blending Jamaican roots with a global sound, inspiring fans worldwide. And this is despite your own challenges.
Yeah.
So before 40, by the way, making a success of yourself, launching a global career, trying to break through even more, dealing with that, yet very sober and grateful at the same time.
Wow.
In terms of when I listen to all of the kinds of interviews I've been. Yes. When you listen to your resume, what do you think?
It's quite an honor. It's quite an honor, from coming from a humble beginning. And when I say humble, I mean humble, like really. I wouldn't say poor, because I think poverty is a state of mind, really. But we didn't have the certain luxuries.
Growing up in Clarendon?
Yes.
Tell me about home life.
All right, so I am the last of 4 children. Well, only one from my dad, so he says. But the last from my mom. And growing up in Maypen, in that small community, in Rectorland. Yeah, we didn't have much. It was a one-room board house. And I know this story almost sounds cliche, but it's my story. One-room board house, dirt floor. So if little water throw away in there, so it become a pig pen. Mud. My dad would go to the bush, and that is how he would make a living. Burn coal. All of that. And a lot of people don't know about this side of things, and I'm glad I have the opportunity now to tell the story.
So you say coal. So this is a big coal.
Yeah, coal. Yes, man, coal skill. Yes, and go to the market and sell it and send home the bread. We had love, which I think is the most important thing, and it has helped me to make do with what I have.
So and your mom at the same time?
Yes, definitely. But my father was always ambitious. He was always an ambitious person. So we didn't stay there for too long. He had a job opportunity in Grand Cayman. Then mom went over there to live with him. Then I moved over there. So at one point I was living in Grand Cayman. At one point I was living with my aunt in St. Thomas. Big up to Auntie Jaisi, if she's watching. I love Auntie Jaisi to death, man, I tell you. So I've had so many different experiences, during childhood. And the reason why that is important to me is because, when you're a child, you're a sponge and you soak up so many different, it's easier to learn, So I'm glad I was exposed to all this.
What were your parents saying to you as they were raising you, your father and your mother?
My dad raised me as a little man, because they always talk about when my dad was going to work, and I had a little jacket that I would put on. Love the little jacket, everywhere I go, and is it a draft, and I would go and stand at the gate, and they would be like, Omar, where you going? At the time they called me Omi, where you going? And I would be like, me I go at daddy work. Because I really stuck to my father. And I loved my mom, but I gravitated more to my father. And it is after his passing in 95, I was 9 years old at the time when my dad passed. It's after his passing, then that love kind of swayed over to mommy.
What happened to him? Did you understand? Because it's 9, so it's very early.
9 is very early. And, many of my fans will know that I lost my mom last year.
Yes.
It's a total different ball game now. Because I think at 9 years old, you didn't really and truly understand the concept of loss, when it comes to death and dealing with death, knowing that the person is never going to come back, you're never going to see them again. And I think, that's why it hits so hard losing a parent at this stage of my life.
What your mother was saying to you while you were dealing with that loss, how was she, what was she saying? How was she communicating it?
My mom was always a tower of strength. And, many would say that she spoiled me. But it is not spoiled. I guess she was trying to compensate for the fact that I didn't have my dad.
The music around which you've built your entire life, were you always singing?
Well, I'm from Jamaica, so, we're kind of predisposed to music as a people, as a culture. So it was very easy, and it's always like an escape, It's always like an escape, and it's a very, what you'd call an ambitious art form, because many people attribute that to success, like, hey, I want to become a musician. So at first it probably started out as you just wanting to be famous, you wanting to have, riches and all of that. But then over time, when you understand the concept of music and the real purpose of music, then you start having a different appreciation for it.
Where did it come from, though?
Well, overall, dance used to keep across from me. Us being in school, your friends. So at the time, I didn't have cable, but all my friends did. So all of the new songs that would come out, they would be exposed to it first before I would hear it, and they would introduce it. Hey, you hear the new Tupac, and then I started listening all these various artists from different genres. So that is where all of that influence came from.
All right, I want to talk a little bit about how those genres influence you in the early singing, but we have to take our first break on Profile. My guest today is Mr. Cheerleader himself, Omar Ome Pasley, genre-bending Jamaican and international artist, and we're back with you after these messages.